Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Today we'll start with our sixth and final section, which is individual differences. Last time we talked about second language development across different linguistic sub-areas. And this time we'll talk about individual differences and we'll talk about intelligence and aptitude. Initially, I wanted to talk about intelligence or types of skills and language aptitude in two different videos, but I just decided to combine them and talk about them in the same video. So let's start. And because it's our final section, there will be no quizzes. So let's start. We'll talk about first about IQ and second language. So IQ is the standard intelligence test and how it is related to second language learning. So after research, they come to a conclusion that the performance on reading, grammar, and math tests were correlated with the IQ test measures, while the auditory comprehension and interpersonal communication tests were not. So they did research on children speaking English as a native language, and they are trying to learn French. So they tested them on 5 different aspects: reading, grammar, and math. Also, we have auditory comprehension or listening comprehension and interpersonal communication or oral production. So, they came with a conclusion that IQ affects reading and grammar and math tests. So, the IQ test, the standard intelligence test, affected reading, grammar, and math, but it didn't affect auditory comprehension and interpersonal communication. So, Cummins suggested two types of skill after this research, and he said we have two different types of skills. The first one is cognitive academic language proficiency, and the second one is basic interpersonal communicative skills. And we'll talk about them here. So, cognitive academic language proficiency. It's skills requiring abstract language abilities, analysis and synthesis, useful in carrying out academic related skills. So, from its name, it's cognitive academic, so it's useful in carrying out academic related skills, like the one we talked about before: reading, grammar, and math. The basic interpersonal communicative skills. These skills are useful in carrying out face-to-face personal communication, as in conversation. And like we talked before, auditory comprehension and interpersonal communication. So these two different types of skills, each one is responsible for different set of skills. Then let's start with language learning aptitude. So basically speaking, aptitude is what differentiate between two different people, even though they have gone through the same environment and the same process. Each one of them will be at a different proficiency in language. So aptitude is what determines that. So aptitude has been succinctly or concisely defined as language learning ability. So in short, it's language learning ability. But it has also been described as characteristics controlling the rate of progress that an individual will make in learning a foreign language. So it's like a more detailed definition. It's characteristic controlling the rate of progress that an individual will make in learning a foreign language. So traditional research has tended to explore early learning stages. So traditional research on aptitude tended to explore early learning stages of language, only the learning stages. But nowadays, they say that it can be examined in relation to ultimate attainment, to what degree an individual approaches native proficiency. So it's not just about early stages, but also about approaching native proficiency or attainment. So it's at later stages, aptitude can also be examined or explored. Then we have characteristics of aptitude in terms of second language learning or language learning. So it must be shown to be separate from general IQ and achievement. So we said before that IQ didn't affect all aspects of language learning, all aspects of language learning. But so it's different from aptitude. Aptitude and IQ are two different things. Also, it must be shown to be separate from motivation. We'll talk about motivation later. It's like what drives us to learn a language. So aptitude is different from motivation and is a stable factor, perhaps innate. So it's something in our biological thing. It's something innate, maybe. So it's not something that can be learned with time. And finally, it is viewed not as a prerequisite for a second language acquisition, but as capacity that enhances rate and ease of learning. So it's not like having aptitude is like something crucial, like without aptitude we can't learn a language. It's not like that. It's like something that enhances or facilitates language learning. So it's not something that should be there, but like having aptitude or like it's like a capacity that enhances language learning. So aptitude is like measured by modern language aptitude test, and this test measures three different areas by 5 different subtests. So we have 5 tests that measures or tests 3 different areas. The first area is phonetic coding ability. It's like consisting of the ability to analyze and retain new sounds. So it's related to sounds, obviously, because it's phonetic. So we measure it or test it using 3 different tests, which are number learning, phonetic script, and spelling clues. Relating to the tests, the book which I use contains like an example of this test. So if you're interested, you can have a look at it. So again, so phonetic coding ability is the first area or the first ability that is tested through 3 different tests. So 3 from the 5 tests is used to test phonetic coding ability. Then we have grammatical sensitivity. It's the ability to identify and function words. The function words play in sentences. So it's like because it's grammatical, it has to do with sentences and like sentence structure and what function the words play in sentences. And it's tested through words and sentences, which is the fourth part of the test. And finally, associative or rote memory. It's the ability to memorize a new vocabulary, and it's tested through the 5th part, which is paired associates. So that's about like modern language tests. Then we'll talk about different thing, which is working memory. So working memory is like something that has been considered as like a part of aptitude. So working memory is an active system for temporarily storing and manipulating information needed in the execution of complex cognitive tasks, such as comprehension of verbal material. So it's like for short or temporarily storing information to execute complex cognitive tasks, such as comprehension of verbal material. So it's like, and a characteristic of working memory is that its overall capacity is limited. So the working memory, which is responsible for like cognitive tasks, has a limited capacity. So there was an example, like we can write a simple message to our friend on our phone, like a simple message like that's used every day while carrying out a conversation. But if the message became complicated or it's long or something like that, we need to break our conversation in so that we can write this message. So that's why we say it's limited. How we like measure working memory? It's measured by reading span tasks that require both storage and processing functions. So what do we mean by reading span tasks? It's by having a person read increasingly larger sets of sentences and having to remember the final word, plus at the same time having to determine whether the sentences are true or false. So a person is asked to read sentences. They get larger by time or by uh so they get larger or longer, and he is asked to remember the final word of each sentence and to determine whether the sentence is true or false. So like we said, storage, it's by remembering, and processing is to determine whether it's true or false. That's about working memory. Then we have phonological short-term memory, or by short, phonological memory. So it's like a part of working memory. So what do we mean by phonological memory? It's a subsystem. So it's a subsystem or a part of working memory responsible for temporary maintenance of acoustic or speech-based information. From phonological, we can know that it's speech-based or acoustic. It has to do with sounds. So it's the subsystem of working memory that has to do with sounds or speech-based information. It also has a way to be tested or measured. So it can be tested by trying to remember a 7-digit phone number one has just heard. So they let them hear a phone number that contains of 7 digits, 7 numbers, and the person has to remember that number. But actually, phonological memory can hold information for only a few seconds and will be lost if not repeated or rehearsed. So phonological memory can only hold information for very few seconds, and if not rehearsed, it will be lost, or it will be or we will lose the information. But if the information is rehearsed repeatedly, it can be transferred to long-term memory. So this one is short-term. After repeating the information, it can be transferred to long-term memory. And phonological memory is sometimes tested. We have another way to test phonological memory. It's by having individuals attempt to remember and repeat back non-words. So non-words or nonsense words that are not in the language, such as indefatigable. I don't know how to read them. So repeating back non-words that someone has heard, even though these words are not in the language. If someone can repeat them after hearing them, so that's has to do with phonological memory. And the longer the word, the person that can repeat, the more capacity that person has in his phonological memory. Actually, that's all in our video. Thanks for watching, and see you soon inshallah in our next and final video.